Some of the NEET points for human health and disease. Right? So let's see. The role of thymus. This is a very important question from the NEET point of view. So what is the role of the thymus? The role of the thymus is nothing but differentiation of immature lymphocytes into mature cells. Differentiation of immature lymphocytes into mature cells. So let's see some of the points about humoral immunity. For humoral immunity, it is B lymphocytes, means bone marrow activated lymphocytes. Remember, these are the lymphocytes which will be producing the antibodies. And cell mediated immunity. For cell mediated, it is T lymphocytes. For cell mediated immunity, it is T lymphocytes. Let's see some of the bacterial infections or viral infections. What are the disease it is caused and what is the organism that is being caused. First thing is organism, and the second one is disease, dysentery, diphtheria, ringworm, plague, pneumonia, so let's see the organisms for this. So let's see here for dysentery. For dysentery, it is Shigella. Shigella. For diphtheria, Corynebacterium. Corynebacterium. For ringworm, Epidermophyton. Epidermophyton. And for plague, Yersinia pestis. Pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza. So remember, we know about ringworm. Remember the mnemonic MET met. Microsporum, Epidermophyton, Trichophyton. So these are the causative organisms for ringworm. And for pneumonia also, Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. Okay. And next, AIDS. Remember, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is the disease. The causative organism is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. and this is the retrovirus. The meaning of retrovirus is it has reverse transcriptase. So both it is innate and acquired immunity type, it was like, and it is pathogen specific as well. So these are the things regarding AIDS, HIV, retrovirus and reverse transcriptase. HIV is actually a progressive disease. Remember this, it is a progressive disease. So and it will decrease the T helper cells. T helper cells. And macrophages are called the factories of HIV. Macrophages are called factories of HIV. So these are the NEET points you have to know. So let's continue. Next, I'll write the disease and we'll find out what is the marked symptoms and signs. Again, dysentery, ringworms, typhoid, pneumonia, ascariasis, dysentery, constipation, blood clots and mucus in stools. Blood clots, and mucus in stools. Coming to the next, ringworms, dry scaly lesions with intense itching. With intense itching. And next, for typhoid, intestinal perforations and death in severe cases. Intestinal perforations and death in severe cases. Coming to the next, pneumonia. So lips, fingers may having cyanosis, means turning bluish in color. Cyanosis for lips and fingers. Ascariasis, intestinal bleeding, and blockage of intestinal passage. So let's learn about one more thing regarding this is a toxic substance which is responsible for chills and high fever and occurring for 3 to 4 days in case of malaria. In case of malaria, chills and fever will occur for every 3 to 4 days. For a toxic substance, so the toxic substance is hemozoin. And next, we'll see the types of immunity. In immunity, we have two types mainly. Innate immunity, acquired immunity. Usually, innate immunity is non-specific. Acquired is specific, mostly specific. And again, in the acquired, we have active and passive. Active is the antibodies are produced by our body. Passive is the antibodies are not produced by our body. We have natural and artificial. Natural is accidental infection. Artificial is vaccination. And next, for passive, natural, mother milk. Artificial, natural is mother milk and artificial is plasmapheresis. Hepatitis B, which having double-stranded DNA. Remember this very important point. And it is produced by rDNA technology from yeast. So cancer is lack of having contact inhibition. And normal cells will be having this contact inhibition. Cancer cells will be having lack of contact inhibition. So the difference between pneumonia and rhinitis, or we call it as common cold. Pneumonia will affect the lungs. Common cold will affect the nasal passage. Nasal passage, or we call it as respiratory passage. Conducting passage. Running nose. Mucus is accumulated in the chest region. This is called upper respiratory infection. Upper respiratory infection. This we call it as lower respiratory infection. Next, we have the pathogens of malaria are The pathogens of malaria are Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malariae. Out of this, the more fatal one is this. We call this as malignant. The more dangerous one, it may cause to death also. Important things about Plasmodium from NEET point of view. Remember, sporocytes are formed in salivary glands of female Anopheles mosquito. Female Anopheles mosquito. Gametocytes are formed in man. These gametocytes are fused in gut of mosquito. The second response of a pathogen is always anamnestic, and you will be having a high intensified manner. Next one, interferons. These are the substance which is released by virus infected cells. So these are the proteins which are released by virus infected cells and protect non-infected cells. So diacetyl morphine, we call it as SMAC. Next, cocaine. So it will interfere with dopamine, neurotransmitter dopamine. So acetylation of morphine, we call it as SMAC. So for tobacco smoking, remember, so the person may have cancer of lungs, urinary bladder, and throat. So these are the things we have to remember for NEET point of view for human health and disease. Thank you.